guys. My name is Marie Baya. I am a civic engagement college mentor at Taylor High School, and I'm so happy to be here.
Thanks for tuning in. My name is Amira Amaya, and I'll be one of your co-hosts today.
All right, and welcome to the podcast. My name is Caitlin Tiu. I'll also be a co-host, and I'm also AliefVotes events director. So today, Alief Voices in Action presents today's topic, From Passion to Action, a Young Leader's Journey. So our mission is to empower youth civic engagement in Alief through education, leadership opportunities, and community projects. So basically the purpose of this program, Alief Voices in Action, is to assist in encouraging family, civic, and community engagement throughout the district, which involves voter registration drives and civic education, where you can get involved by staying active with our program by following our Instagram, volunteering, and attending events at Alief Face. So basically just Alief and in Face together.
Awesome. So let's get right into it. So in the 2020 U.S. presidential election, about half of eligible young voters showed up to the polls, the highest youth turnout in years, yet still leaving millions of voices unheard. That statistic reminds us that passion alone isn't enough. It's action that drives real change. From Passion to Action, a young leader's journey explores how young people transform their energy, ideas, and conviction into meaningful civic impact within their community.
Exploring how young people turn their passions into meaningful civic engagement and leadership within their communities. And who else would be a better guest than Tommy Wong to talk about this with? Introducing Tommy Wong, a proud native of Alief, Texas, the vibrant, diverse community in Southwest Houston, where he grew up and has spent years giving back. He's the founder and program director of AliefVotes, a nonprofit dedicated to youth civic engagement in Alief ISD. Under his leadership, AliefVotes has raised over $400,000 in grants, engaged more than 8,500 students and community members, and mobilized hundreds of thousands of volunteer hours towards environment resilience, disaster preparation, and civic education. Tommy is also a senior at UT Austin, studying civil engineering, government, and Plan 2 honors, with research focused on environmental policy and infrastructure resilience.
Such cool stuff. So let's get to know our guest a little bit more, before we give him some very intense questions, I guess. Okay, so first question for you, Tommy Wan, is where are you from?
Yes, we're from Alief, and it's so good to be with you all today. Thank you so much for having me on. It's really great to be right across from the hospital where I was born in Outley, which is one of the elementary schools I went to as well. So
that is awesome. So I guess, who was your role model, right? And who do you look up to and shaped you to basically where you are right now?
Yeah, absolutely. I would say one of my biggest role models is Tiffany Thomas. She is our local council member here in District F, which represents Alief and many other communities on the west side of town. And I say her because she is from Alief herself, went to Elsick High School, served on the Alief ISD Board of Trustees, and she was my first mentor that taught me the importance of civic engagement and giving back. I had my first internship with her in her second year at City Council, and before that, I had no idea what civic engagement was. I had no idea what a polling location was, the importance of voting. I was originally going to go into UT Austin and study aerospace engineering because I thought planes were really cool. She has taught me the importance of youth being involved, having a seat at the table and steering that ship of governance. And she has consistently inspired me and other Alief students to continue to do more. So I really do look up to her as my role model.
She sounds amazing. I might have to talk to her. So other than she, what else inspired you to do what you do today?
Yeah, I would say just being from this community. We speak over 93 languages, and isn't that just crazy? We're a microcosm of so many different cultures. Alief was really shaped by, for example, the fall of Saigon after 1975, and a huge Vietnamese population came in. Hurricane Katrina and That disaster really led to a diversification of the district. And also my family, who are both immigrants, my mom from China, my dad from Hong Kong, they came to Alief in the early 2000s and settled here. And we are just an incredible community with so many different diverse talents, languages, cultures, heritage. And that is something so beautiful to me. And when I started connecting those dots into our unity as a community, I also saw that we faced a lot of challenges here, whether it's with disaster preparedness, with an academic gap, with a lack of opportunities for young people to get involved. That really showed and paved the way of civic engagement. How can young people be involved and have an active voice, organized in their community so that they know that they can come back one day and ensure that their home community is taken care of? And that inspires me every single day. Seeing the students go through the AliefVotes program, Alief ISD, and really coming back and making change and ensuring that they're able, once they climb the ladder, bring that ladder back down and ensure other folks are able to get up as well.
I have some really hard questions for you. So, what does civically engage mean to you personally?
Yes, that's a great question. So, civic engagement means being a part of your community and understanding both the challenges and opportunities that being a part of a community can represent and pose as well. So I would say that one of the reasons we started AliefVotes is because we want young people to know that they don't have to wait until they become adults to organize, right? For example, a lot of us speak different languages at home. If we bring up the election, say in Yoruba or in Chinese and Cantonese and Vietnamese and Spanish, we can start and have those conversations at our very own dining tables and really affect change by getting our family members and relatives out to the polls as well. But beyond just going to the polls and making your voice heard and ensuring that legacy is set in stone is also knowing what's happening around you. There's so much happening in Alief, especially with Alief ISD. For example, Ms. Sierra and Director Terry with the FACE department, they are leading civic engagement initiatives across the district, and that's an excellent way to get involved as well. There's issues like disaster preparedness, environmental justice, infrastructure resilience, public safety, education, the list goes on. And every student, every young person has an opportunity to get involved in that and really ensure that they're able to have their voices in that input and make change as well. So I would say beyond just showing up to a polling location, beyond just voting and telling your families to members to vote, it's also understanding where you can plug in and change the community for good. And one of the reasons why I love AliefVotes is because all of the fellows, managers, associates, everyone has different policy areas and interests, whether it's language justice, environmental justice, doing things to protect our family when it comes to disasters, spay-neuter events for our pets. There's so many different topics that we can get involved. And to answer your question, to me, civic engagement is taking a holistic view of your community and doing as much as you can to give back.
Yeah, for sure. And so with that, now we know like what civic engagement means to you. How do you take that to what you do in civic engagement?
Absolutely. So I do most of my work with Alief ISD through AliefVotes. So we started back in 2022. A few students came together and we saw the importance of getting involved, right? One of my first internship experiences, I saw that young people actually can have a voice and do a lot in the community on a variety of issues. So when we started, we only started off with 6-8 fellows. We only did a couple of projects a month, but we had a grand ambition. And I would say Alief is on that precipice of change in terms of ensuring that we're able to close that academic gap, to bring new opportunities for students, and to ensure that there is a leadership pipeline for folks going through middle, intermediate, high school, college, the workforce, the military, and then coming back and giving to the community. And we've historically been known as the forgotten district here in Alief, and that needs to change. We need to be forgotten no more, and we need to ensure that young people can take the realms of leadership. So when we started, we're now in our 4th year. We have over 25 fellows per year. We organize over 50 events per year as well. And it just amazes me to see in that civic engagement space, the ability to give back and also see the students thrive as well. We have many students now going to the Marines, over to HCC, the University of Houston, to Harvard, to Stanford, to MIT, doing public policy and doing government work and ensuring that they are able to speak up and have an active voice so that one day they can come back to Alief, represent us, and ensure that our voice is well represented. So I will say if we can do it in Alief, where we're such a microcosm in a diverse community, we can show that we can do it at the city of Houston, at Harris County, at the state of Texas, nationally and internationally as well. So we are that incubator of change, and it really does start here.
Yeah, I mean, I do love me some Alief Votes, especially the food that comes after the event.
And the merch.
And the merch, repping it right now.
Yes.
But now with that, how can Alief be civically involved with Alief Votes and all the things that you do with it?
Absolutely. So I would say the most important thing is to show up. Y'all know that quote where 80% of the work is showing up, right?
Yeah.
That is the path to success. Because when you start showing up to these community events, whether it's a workshop on civic engagement, whether it's volunteering at a polling location, whether it's attending the AliefVotes Youth Conference that
Yes,
Caitlin
that's
is
on.
organizing.
Yes, June 13th, be there.
We'll have
Be
ice
there.
cream, food,
Ice cream, lots of
everything.
food,
Yes.
lots of activities, lots of speakers.
Right. But when you get there and when you hear the speakers, you become vitalized and inspired yourself, right? You get to talk to the community members, you get to talk to tabling organizations, and you will start connecting the dots that I do not live in this community alone, right? We are here together as people, and relationships matter and society matters. So the quicker you can see that you are a part of something bigger and that you have an ability to make change in that system, then you will be inspired to get involved. So I will say my number one advice is any event you see, whether it's an event at Hastings High School, Taylor High School with Alief Family and Community Engagement like Taste of Alief, Family U, whether it's an AliefVotes event, going to city council to testify, once you get there, put yourself out of your comfort zone and talk to people, you will see that you have so much ability for change. And that's one of the reasons why I got involved. And it's so inspiring and gratifying for me to see students in AliefVotes and beyond in Alief ISD get involved in that manner as well.
Great. I think Amira will take it over.
Yep. Just a few more questions. You have so much to say, and we're really glad to have you on. You have so much wisdom to give. Few more. How do you think your involvement in civic engagement impacts Alief as a whole?
Yeah, absolutely. So I would say we have so many projects going on. For example, Caitlin was actually part of research we're doing with the University of Georgia on plastic pollution and how can we create a more circular economy to reduce waste right here in our home city, our home neighborhood of Alief, right? We have also been doing a lot of disaster preparedness work. We came with the 97-page Alief Disaster Preparedness Protocol, collaborated with the City of Houston, Harris County Precinct 4, the Office of Emergency Management, the State of Texas, to really bring these workshops to the community in multiple language, Mandarin, Vietnamese, Spanish, English, and Yoruba, Hausa, Igbo as well, to ensure that we're able to listen to the community when it came to the aftermath of Hurricane Beryl, Harvey, straight line wind derecho, so that we can have policy solutions to bring to our local policymakers and lawmakers. We've also been hosting the youth conferences and the youth workshops. And one of my favorite things is every event that AliefVotes plans and organizes are executed by the Alief ISD students themselves. And AliefVotes and Alief ISD serves as a vehicle for that innovation and change, whether it's through funding, whether it's through mentorship, securing the rooms, securing partnerships, connecting speakers to the students, but at the end of the day, the outreach, the marketing, the execution is done by the students. And that is so incredibly important because by getting that hands-on experience, these students who are the leaders now, not tomorrow, are able to practice and exercise their skill. And that is something so important because I have seen quite literally elementary students being involved in civic engagement, which is incredibly impressive. And as they continue that momentum through their education, they're able to bring that into higher education. They're able to bring that into the workforce and really have that Alief-focused civic mindset in every piece of meaningful work that they do. So I would say by doing all of these events, these different initiatives like these pocket prairies, bringing the community together to educate them on important issues like green infrastructure, and community involvement through voter engagement and get out the vote efforts, we're really able to impact the Alief community by showing folks the first array of topics that are possible, but most importantly, that young people can get involved right now at the second like we are right now.
So true. So much to see and so much to do.
And so much to eat.
And then one more question for this segment. Using just 3 words, how would you describe your community?
Yes, a very great question.
Take your time. Take your time.
Take your time.
Longest question ever.
Yeah, I will say first, we are a resilient community because I have seen this community go through a lot. And I have lived in different parts of Alief too, which has been really cool. I went to Mahaney Elementary, so I used to live near that area, near High Star and Cook. And that really showed me the importance of how we are a diverse community and that we're able to come together at all of these big events like Family U and Taste of Alief, right? My first language that I learned was Cantonese because that's what my grandma spoke to me. And my mom doesn't speak English still, but she instills values in me every single day that I see in the Alief community as well. And I find that so beautiful, right? This diaspora that comes internationally into this one community where we're able to come together, come to these events, collaborate intensively, but most importantly, learn from each other. So being a resilient community is something that I have always seen, not just after Winter Storm Uri, after the hurricanes, but as a community itself, as we are able to navigate challenges and go through opportunities as well. I would also say that we're a very empowering community because my dad came here from Hong Kong, and he reminds me every day because he has a small business here in Alief where he first was fixing up computers, but now he's working with restaurants, especially the Mandarin and Cantonese speaking restaurants, to do their point of order systems. And that shows me the empowerment that you can have, not only as a family coming to Alief, realizing the American dream, but also as young people here as well, where we're able to connect across different cultures, connect across different languages, and organize and learn from each other. So I really feel that sense of empowerment through opportunity and the ability to learn from others and to share and to give back and not be reluctant to do so. And I would also say we're an enterprising community because all of these small businesses here, right? All of the CTE facilities, we were just talking about the construction program here, the aviation, the culinary, seeing Dr. Mays talk about the incredible stuff happening in the school district that the Board of Trustees is looking at. We are a district and a community where we're not afraid of innovation, trying new things, putting our feet forward, and just running that marathon without any training, right? And ensuring that we are able to really make change without even knowing what's possible. And I think that is something so beautiful. So I would say those are the 3 words: resilience, empowering, and enterprising.
Great words.
Yes.
Thank you for letting us get to know a little bit about you and what you do. You're rooted in Alief, just as how we all are.
Yeah.
We're thankful for your work. With that, now for a few open-ended questions
Yeah,
for all
yeah.
of us.
For all of us, yeah.
How okay,
I guess I could
Give
take
that,
on
yeah,
the
I'll
next
give
one.
that
Yeah,
over
because
to you with
you
your
actually already
question.
answered the first one. Okay. So, what's one project you're especially proud of and why?
Yeah, I would say one of my favorite projects that I have been able to work on and really seen the students lead is our pocket prairies. So we have two pocket prairies here in Alief. One is at Brays Village East, which is an HOA near Beltway 8, near that Chick-fil-A. So every time we would do a project there, we would all go to Chick-fil-A to eat. But the second one we have is at the Alief Community Garden, which is right across the street from Youngblood, which is the intermediate school I went to. And that was particularly cool because I have always known of the community garden. I remember my teacher would bring us there and we would have gardening days and learn about science there. So when the opportunity presented, what we did was we went out to the Alief Community Center, which is a great center, by the way, um, and we did workshops on what environmental initiatives and green infrastructure would you like to see in the community, whether it's more tree planting, which Barbara Quattro did a lot of with the Alief Super Neighborhood Council, whether it's bioswales, rain gardens. We ended up voting as a community on a pocket prairie at the Alief Community Garden. And what we did was we came back to the community each and every time at different phases of that design, whether it's selecting the bricks, selecting the native plants that we wanted to put in, selecting the students who were going to be involved in leading it. And over the course of the year, starting in summer of last year in 2025, we were able to build it from the ground up through 3 community work days where we came out to Youngblood Intermediate, came out to the community garden, taught everyone about the importance of green infrastructure and environmental initiatives like pocket prairies, as it can help with water filtration and also bring more native wildflowers into our very home community. And most importantly, I didn't have to do any of it, right? We had students in Alief ISD lead these workshops, lead the different topics like Sawson and Lander, Nefemi, Erica, who go to Alief ISD. They were the ones who brought the bricks to the site itself, who brought the soil, who brought the equipment, and they were able to put together that pocket prairie with over 50 community members all in one day. And that is one of my favorite projects because it not only teaches us about the importance of resilience, infrastructure, and environmental initiatives, but it also showed me the power of young people coming together, leading the way and starting that conversation in which, but for their leadership, we wouldn't have. So that is one of my favorite experiences. And now, if you go to the pocket prairies, there's benches there, there's a tree there, and you can see these native wildflowers to Alief, because Alief was once a prairie back in the 1800s. It's now thriving in the spring weather. So it's a really beautiful story of both civic and youth growth, but also the biodiversity we have here in Southwest Houston.
Yes, I love hearing that. I was gonna ask. I was like, how did you guys get people to like build? And then
Yeah,
hearing that you said that, we have volunteers within our community doing it, and some students from the high schools. That's awesome. Really cool.
absolutely.
Yeah, I remember like, I went to the initial meetings where we were still planning and voting everything. Honestly, I stepped in the room and I knew nothing. Like I genuinely was
Yeah.
like, what are all these words getting thrown at me?
Yeah.
But then over time, like when the pocket prairies were actually happening, like and then you getting to see these like projects actually come to life,
Mhm.
and now where they are like during the spring, it's like crazy. Like just simply the community coming together just to vote, even though like some of us like me didn't even know what it was talking about, like striving to become like what it is now, just by all of us coming together and like all of like the youth voices, all of the volunteers. I think it's really great to see, honestly. And so with that, can you describe a time where you felt powerless or unheard and how that changed you?
Yeah, that's a very excellent question. I would say a lot of the spaces as young people that we go into, whether it's city council, Harris County Commissioners Court, or where we're going to meetings where there's mostly adults. I remember back in high school, I felt really out of place, and I felt like no one was listening to what young people had to say, right? That was a pivotal moment where I did feel powerless, and also was inspired by that to bring more opportunities in the Alief community, right? Because now what we see is because students like you are organizing in the community and showing that young people can get it done,
Yeah.
that perception of youth, especially in the Alief community and with Alief ISD student leaders, has really fundamentally shifted like a paradigm, right? So whenever now we get invited to city council or to Harris County Commissioner's Court, the leaders there are listening to us now. And I think that's an incredible opportunity. We've been, for example, invited by Commissioner Briones and her team with Miracle to talk about the importance of bridging the technological divide, right? The importance of Chromebook distributions in Alief, the importance of bringing opportunities through technology and through safety courses in Alief as well. We also had students go and talk about the pocket prairies and environmental initiatives. So really, it's been great seeing that opportunity to change that narrative and that perspective. And that reminds me to the fact that we are forgotten no more, right? We're able to speak up and show that we're not only able to do that now, but cultivate a very meaningful pipeline for future leaders to come up as well. So my favorite part is seeing the students who have started out with AliefVotes 4 years ago in their freshman year of high school, now heading off to college to do public policy or to do more work on voter engagement. And that is something that inspires the whole community every single day.
I could definitely see like you talking high school, how you felt a little powerless. Like I remember freshman year, speaking of freshman, like I think this is my biggest regret that I didn't join Elite Votes sooner. I remember seeing it and I was like, like, I think I filled it out and I was like, I don't think I'll get it, so I didn't submit it. And then it led to like how you said you talking in courts. I think I was also texting you, Tommy. I was like, Tommy, I'm so scared. I don't think I can do this. Like it was about the flood, the
Yes.
flooding after Hurricane Beryl, and it was like my sophomore year, and I was like honestly like the most shyest person ever. I think even Tommy, you can say that I was very introverted back then. So I came in and I was like, yeah, and it's like I barely done anything. I don't know anything. I mean, I have what I want to say ready, but like all of these like it's a whole bunch of adults and I'm like the only teenager here, and I'm about to walk in a courtroom with a mic to my like just like this and talk to the entire like an entire row of judges, and I'm just like. And I think it was just like so crazy. It was like so crazy because after I spoke, I thought I did terrible. I like stumbled across my own speech like 50,000 times. I remember stuttering a lot. And then I came out and then like Tommy was texting me, oh yeah, everybody I know is saying you did great. And then
And
I
they
had
did.
all these
We're
people,
texting,
yeah.
yes.
Yeah,
yes.
and just moments before I was texting you, I don't think I could do it. Like where to, because I remember it was supposed to be a bunch of us. And so usually like if it's like a lot of us like youth together, like we can
Yeah.
like, I have my emotional support. But then everybody dropped out one by one because like they couldn't make it anymore. There was like a transportation issue, and then I was just by myself. And then I came out, and then like I think it was like one of the most like roller coasters of my life. It's just like, oh damn, I did really bad, and I came out and like, oh you did great. Oh my god, what's your name? And then this and that. So
And you grew from that,
yeah, I
right?
definitely
it's putting
did.
yourself in those uncomfortable situations,
Yeah.
and making your voice heard. It's uncomfortable, but that's why it's important.
Because I remember a time, because I studied construction management, right?
Mhm.
So I remember, like, so I didn't have to do this at all, but it was a participation grade, right? And so one of the things you had to do for the participation grade was to go and speak in front of the class at the beginning of the lecture. And it's like you would talk about like a topic, a safety topic, right? And I was absolutely like, no, I'm not going to do that. And I didn't have to because it was not mandatory. But I was like, you know what? It's going to take practice for me to like speak in public places. So I was just like, you know what? Let me just go ahead and do it. And my professor said I did really good. So that's
Yeah.
good.
I think, yeah. Oh, sorry.
Sorry, I was about to say like, and I hate to see that like it's also something that holds a lot of youth back because
Yeah.
like even in school, I would say like, oh, I'm gonna go do this, and then a lot of people I know back then were like, oh, I don't see the point of doing it. I'm still young. I don't know anything, or it's just like a thing that personally a lot of parents tell us that like, oh, like you're still young, like you're still like very ignorant and naive. You shouldn't be
Yeah.
doing anything. Just like do your school. Just focus on school. Don't go beyond that.
Hmm.
I think it's just like a lot of youth are especially stuck in that mindset that, oh, I'm just gonna focus on school. I don't see a point in me stepping out. But now with all of these opportunities, especially for me, Alief Votes, like now getting to go out, I'm just like, it's a bit much bigger world than you think.
Yeah.
Um, I think those moments when you feel uncomfortable and like end up like doing it anyways, you know, an act of courage.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to get better at speaking. That's why I joined speech and debate, and I've done it all these years. And I think I've gotten much better. I've become a much better speaker. I
Absolutely.
know that Ailey votes and the things you do, it encourages the youth to come out and like, take that leap of faith to not just for them to come out in like ways helping the community. You mentioned before about your mentor and how it impacted your life and basically changed your trajectory, like your career, which is really big. That kind of segues into another important question,
Hmm.
in that like we recognize that mentorship plays a vital role in personal and professional growth. So could you share an experience as a mentor and explain how it shaped your perspective or involvement in civic engagement?
Yes, that's a great question. So, um, I would say before I get into that question, one of the biggest advice that I have gotten and have given to students is to make the ask, right? There's so many mentors out there in each of y'all's lives, whether it's a teacher, whether it's a staff member, whether it's Miss Sierra. If y'all have an idea, if y'all have something you want to explore, if y'all want a letter of recommendation, if y'all want to host an event, the easiest but also the hardest thing is to make the ask, right? And you never know what that can do to your life, like it did with mine. I literally was not I was just looking for a summer internship because now things are so competitive, even in the job market, right? So I just emailed the District F office. I was like, hello, I'm from Alief. I saw you graduated from LSIC. Can I work for you for the summer for free? And that's how I got started and involved, right? I didn't even know what a city council was. I didn't know what a district was. I didn't know what challenges Alief was facing until you get yourself into those rooms, right? So I would say my favorite mentorship stories has been some of the graduating seniors in Alief Votes. I remember, for example, a student named Kosi. He was an Alief Votes Fellows for 2 years and went to Hastings High School, where my brother went as well. But now he is going into his sophomore year at UT Austin, so I will see him on campus and we would catch up. But I remember his big event that he always wanted to organize was blood drives and ensuring that the healthcare is taken care of in terms of residents here in Alief. So I got to write a recommendation letter for him, and he ended up getting that full ride scholarship. And that was one of the moments where I was like, wow, this is incredible. He did this, but he also made the ask in terms of the support system he has around, including Alief Votes, right? Another two students are Azima and Aman, right? They both are currently at Alief Early College High School, and they've been with Alief Votes ever since their freshman or sophomore year. So they have been through our leadership structure, our pipeline from ambassador to fellow to finance director to program manager to program associate. And they got Questbridge recently. And now they're going to Harvard and Stanford, respectively, to do government and public policy. And just seeing their growth while I was going through college as well was just incredibly inspiring. So I would say from that experience, now getting to see both sides, working with my professors and getting their mentorship, and from folks like Director Terry and Councilmember Thomas, Commissioner Briones, now seeing the other side, it's always important to make that ask. And if you have something you want to do, it's scary asking, but just do it, and you'll never know where you'll come out on the other side.
Miss 100% of the shots that you don't take.
Exactly.
Exactly.
That's right.
Okay, I have a statistic here. Okay, so Tufts University Circle research found that 47% of young voters turned out in 2024, and they made a real difference in the 2025 elections. But here's the problem: even though young people between 18 and 29 care about democracy, only 16% actually think it's working for them. So a lot of young people want to make changes or make their voices and their opinions heard, but feel discouraged or not heard, right? What would you say to young people who want to create change and speak up, but feel discouraged or lack the confidence to take that first step, like you've been discussing?
Yeah, I would say you have to grow where you're planted, right? And especially here in the Alief community, we're known as a low propensity voting district. And I should touch on AliefVotes. We also do voting engagement, hence why the second part of our organization is votes, right? We are a nonpartisan organization, C3, a nonprofit. So what that means is we'll do block walks, we'll do text banking, so texting folks that elections are coming up. We'll do phone banking, we'll do like personalized flyers as well to inform Alief community members and students that one, there's an election coming up on X date. And two, here are the locations that you can go and vote and make your voice heard. And three, here is where you can find information that's neutral so that you can come and make your own decision based on your own life experiences. So that's one of the big program areas that we have been focusing on with both the midterm elections, the presidential elections, the local city of Houston and Harris County elections. And we have seen an increase in turnout when we do that effort, right? And when we do that work. So I think that has been incredibly inspiring and empowering as well, going back to the three words we talked about. And I would say, in order to do that work, one of the philosophies that we have in AliefVotes is we're not just going to encourage people to vote, right? We don't want to just register students just for the sake of getting those numbers. That's why we invest so much time and energy into the students themselves and doing whatever they are passionate about. And that is something so incredibly important because once they see that they're a part of this community and that they can do something about it, then they're more likely to vote. It's kind of changing that logic model the other way around from how funders see it, right? And that is something so important to us to break that glass ceiling, especially here in Alief. And I would say one of my favorite examples is Caitlin and Cindy. They are currently organizing a healthcare fair, and they do this every year where they're able to bring out over 50 to 100 community members, have health screening organizations come in, guest speakers to talk about important issues like breast cancer awareness, screenings, and also ensure that community members are connected to these resources. And I know that y'all are incredibly interested in healthcare and interested in ensuring that equity is embedded here in our Alief community, and they took action. And I'm sure through the process, y'all learned a lot about organizing, but also the issue area itself. And then you can start and talk about healthcare to your elected officials, to people who are appointed, and start informing them through that youth perspective. So it becomes this positive feedback and cycle where you can really make your voice heard. So I would say getting involved and ensuring that whatever organization you join, they invest in you and give you that opportunity to organize these events. That will allow you to feel like that democracy is working for you. Because quite honestly, a lot of the times it doesn't work, right? That's why we have to take a step in and ensure that our voices are implemented and included in that process.
Speaking of that healthcare, it definitely taught me a lot, and especially in a system that like puts like a one size fits all approach. I remember I think I told you about this, Tommy, about the lady I had met where like she had gotten neglected by a lot of her practitioners, something for a medical issue she had in her hand. And having that workshop that I set up about cancer awareness for her, she was able to find a private physician like later on. So she followed up with me a few weeks later and found like, oh, thanks to your workshop and after getting to talk with the cancer researcher that you put on the workshop like speaking agenda with me, I was able to find a practitioner of my own. I was able to get treatment for my hand that so many other practitioners had blamed on just menopause or aging. And so like learning from that experience, I realized like a lot of people just don't want to get involved, or a lot of like especially immigrants or especially people of color, they tend to see like, oh, because my voice is represented a little bit less, there's no point in even trying to vote. There's no point in even trying to learn in my community, or like I don't have a place here. But they do have a place here. They're here. Like that, you matter. And so I think that definitely taught me a lot, which we will be having another healthcare fair on May 9th this Saturday.
Yes, this Saturday.
Yeah. And with that, if you could change one thing to increase youth participation, what would it be?
That's a great question. I would say collaboration and partnership, because that's at the heart of what AliefVotes has done, and we've benefited so much from collaborating with Alief ISD and the Family and Community Engagement Department, both internally and externally. We are not afraid to ask, hey, do you want to work together, right? We recently held last month, Ife, one of our student leaders, she put on an art and music show at the CTE building right here. She was able to get a lot of people out, but she asked these band directors from Alief ISD and these orchestra and choir directors, can you perform and showcase to the community what we are all about, right? So I would say collaboration and deep partnership with any nonprofit, with any governmental organization, teacher, and most importantly, the students in the area will really make a difference. And I will say, for anyone listening to this, if you are an Alief ISD student or someone who graduated from Alief ISD, we want you involved, right? We are an inclusive organization, and we will fund anything from your transportation to food to any ideas that you have, right? Even though we have a fellowship program, it's open to absolutely anyone, because we believe that civic engagement should be open to all. And if someone wants to get involved and have their voice heard, they should have the vehicle to get to that destination, right? They should be able to fly that plane and land that plane safely, but confidently as well. So that is something so incredibly important, that we are able to talk to our peers at the college level, at the high school level, at the intermediate, middle school level, to talk to our teachers, to talk to our parents, and exponentially grow and burgeon and skyrocket this idea of civic engagement, that once we are engaged civically in this society, we all have a place and we all have a voice, especially, as you mentioned, in such a immigrant-rich community, right? That was something I saw with my parents, and how they were able to start a business here and to start a family. And I'm sure all of us have experienced that coming from immigrant families as well. So getting involved is the number one step, and making sure you have a good meal and meet people is something secondary as well, that you'll gain from that experience. But most importantly, you'll know you have a seat at the table, and that we're all in this boat together, and that we can steer the ship of governance all as one team.
Great. Yeah. A lot of I think for me getting involved was simply just moving here. Before, like, I lived in a place that was very like, oh, you're very independent. Like, this house is this house, but you don't talk to your community. Everyone's very independent on their own. But when I moved here, like, my parents being immigrants and knowing all these local store owners, these local bakeries, these local Vietnamese chains, they got to, like, they would just check up on me, and I'm just like, how do they know me? But it's just like
Yeah.
oh, hi Caitlin, how have you been doing? And they'll still remember me to this day. Like, if I go to Hong Kong City Mall, as you guys might, I'm not sure if you guys know about it, but I'll go in, and then the hair salon right next door is like, oh, hi Caitlin, where have you been? How's your dad? I'm just like, oh, it's just this community, this vibrant
Yeah.
community from so many people, like, of different languages, but those different languages also become a bond between between the communities and across communities. So I think that's a really great part about it. And so with that, I know you're young, but what are some words of wisdom that you would like to share with the youth?
Yeah, I would say don't be afraid. And if you have an idea, run with it. Because I know a lot of friends and a lot of students who have ideas but are perhaps anxious to bring it up to a teacher or to bring it up to someone at AliefVotes, for example. But once they do, I have seen the trajectory of their life almost change, because they're able to do something that they're passionate about, and they're able to be an active participant in that, in leading things and creating the agendas and getting the organizations out. And in that process, they learn and meet new people, but they also are able to practice those skills that are so necessary. And I would say, don't forget about Alief. We're a huge community, right? Over 100,000 people live in this community. And we have withered through so much, but also have gained so much in recent years, all because of the advocacy that folks are doing on all levels, whether it's at the school district, in our schools, in government. We need to continue that. So once y'all are able to go to college, go to the military, go into the workforce and contribute to the community, don't forget about your home community, because that giving back is incredibly necessary and is what sustains all of these interactions that you have, right? Because I always go to Hong Kong City Mall. I always go to Ocean Palace with my family. And I remember these waitresses will have known me ever since I was 0 years old to now. And they're like, you're growing so tall now. It's these little connections that kindle this idea of community. And when we're with each other, that's when we're having fun, right? That's when we're enjoying life. And that's when we're able to see the struggles of folks, that we can start identifying different solutions to those issues as well. So I would say, don't be afraid, don't give up, and never forget about your home community.
So much for sharing. That was our last question for you. And I would just like to talk to the listeners a little bit about voter preparation. Key reminders is to check voter registration statuses early. Texas law requires eligible voters to be registered before the election date, and then knowing polling locations and hours is important. And then encourage your family and friends to participate as well. And our closing message is change doesn't begin with grand gestures. It starts with one person deciding that enough is enough and that their voice matters. Civic engagement isn't just about voting or volunteering. It's about transforming passion into purpose and purpose into progress. Every young leader's journey begins with a single step, the courage to act, as Tommy has been sharing with us today. If you guys have any more to ask him.
Or how would you say civic engagement will kind of support your life or lead you to the next step?
I know for me, I went to one like Alief Votes event. I got in touch with I was able to work at a poll
Yeah.
facility. I've done it about 3 times now, and special reminders about the actually like what the special runoff elections. Early voting is April 29th through May 12th. Election day is May 16th, and primary runoff elections are May 6th. Anyone wants to vote, I'll probably be there checking you in. I'm very friendly. I really love doing and seeing all the diverse people in Alief alone. I've been to multiple different locations. I think it's really great, and definitely in the future, more than going, I'll be able to volunteer as an adult, because I was very nervous, but it was also the adults working there for ages that taught me to be less nervous and
Yeah.
outgoing. I think that also made me love Alief.
Absolutely.
Definitely been a journey of growth. Tommy, you've seen it all. Like,
Mhm.
you've seen my switch from wanting to do pre-med to now international business. But I think a large part of that was me finding myself in the work of like AliefVotes. I think one example, speaking of block walks and voting registration work, I think when like me going on a block walk one time, I had gone across houses and I realized that, well, you can't speak English to all of them. Like, and I was
Exactly.
speaking Vietnamese to some. The person who was with me, my friend, she was speaking Spanish to others. So getting to like connect these languages to educating them like how they can be involved, I think really shaped me into like where I want to go into the future, where I want to direct in the future. Especially like not being afraid to address problems that I see in the community. It's also like helped me start my own initiatives and workshops, such as a cancer awareness workshop, which I continued with Empower for Cancer, teaching the community and especially like those prone to cancer about the importance of nutrition, the importance of being there and mental health support, like not just for the patient, but also like those around them, their families around them. So bridging that gap, I think it has really shaped me into where I want to go. Sorry, I'm like getting off topic, but I think that AliefVotes has shaped me into wanting to start my own initiatives by just like seeing problems I have seen with my own family, especially my own mother. Like I've seen her struggle. Like I've seen her struggle with trying to speak English or not wanting to ask because she doesn't know English well or she can't speak it well. So she'll bring me and be like, "Go speak for me. I don't want to speak." Or my dad will be like, "Oh, you speak better English for me. You sound better than me." But I'm just like, "You speak English too." And and even if you don't speak English as well, like we're all a community. And I think language shouldn't be a limitation, and it's definitely shaped me into the initiatives that I want to have, the initiatives that I want to launch, and the career that I want to build off of, and interlinking these connections and cultures and such.
Yeah, I say for me, becoming more civically engaged in the past, I guess, 8 months. because this is something new to me as well. I was definitely someone who was always like skeptical about politics and maybe like getting involved in community. I was always like busy with school. I'm just like, I'm just gonna do schoolwork and go home. But I think just getting more involved within this program has really like, I guess, encouraged me to just do more. And like maybe in a few years, not even maybe, like in a few years it'll just be us here, right? The people who are older than us and more advanced, they'll sadly not be here anymore or be able to make that impact. But we're the change now, right? And we're the ones who are going to be the future. So I'm like, okay, maybe I should be a little bit more and informed about like what I can do to change and to be more involved civically and within.
Yeah.
I think being with the skeptical part, I think before when I was younger, my dad would always say like you're too young or like politics is too much, don't get into it, or that stuff is too much, like this just stay away and just focus on school. So it's just like it was like something like I didn't want to break out of my shell, but then realizing that just being there or doing more, it's just like this is a large part of it, and it kind of motivates me to do my schoolwork too at the same time because
Yeah.
I realize like how much weight everything holds. So I think that really
For our viewers who want to get more involved as well, make sure to go to our Instagram at Alief Face. So to get further on with elections and all such, maybe one day you can meet Tommy at one of these events as well.
Yeah.
And if you would like to like again like
Yeah, absolutely. So you can visit our website, aliefvotes.org. And right at the front of our website, there is a link to a form you can fill out if you're a student. We'll reach out to you and send you all of our opportunities, add you to our communication channels. And remember, we're open to all. So all of our events are for adults, for middle schoolers, for seniors. We want to touch the entire Alief community at the same time, empowering the current students. So thank you for having me. I really appreciate you
thank
all, and
you
it's
for
so great to
joining
hear all these
us.
stories.
That is awesome.
So be there June 13th if you want to be involved with Alief Votes for our youth conference. I know I said it, but don't forget.
Yes, Alief Neighborhood
Alief
Center.
Neighborhood Center and open to all. So be there. We're going to have a lot of fun. And
Yes.
if, I don't know if this will be out by then, but May 9th, this Saturday, we'll be having Celebrate Her, a healthcare fair where we're celebrating mothers. But even if you aren't like a mother or anything, come there to support
Yes,
and just learn.
absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This has been an AMP production.